today's session, the future of fragrance regulation in India. The panel we are going to invite here, we have designed it very deliberately to bring together the science, the industry, and the global compliance perspective in one conversation. It is not a debate today, so I will first, before I go ahead, I will like to welcome our panel. I'll start the name through. Dr. A.B. Pant. Can I have a round of applause, please? Mr. Shakti Vinay Shukla. Mr. Yogesh Dubey. Mr. Ashish Jhunjhunwala. Dr. Rohit Seth. And Dr. Chinmay Dwivedi. Before I go ahead, I would let everybody do their introduction. But today, before I put them through, so today, as I was just speaking, it is not the debate of the regulation, but to provide clarity, confidence, and direction for the industry. Today is not about enforcement or policy announcements. It is about understanding how science underpins fragrance safety, how industry is preparing, and how India continues to align confidently with global markets. Now I will ask each panelist to briefly introduce themselves, and then we will move straight into the discussion.
Myself, Shakti Vinay Shukla. I'm a Principal Director to Fragrance and Flavor Development Center. It is a center of its own unique kind, where across the world, it's the one and the only one, where we have right from cultivation of the aromatic crops up to development of fragrance and flavor under one roof. There is no such center which exists in any part of the world, even as on date. There are different organizations working in different parts of the world. Some are working excellently in fragrances formulation in certain parts of the France. Some are working in agrotechnology in certain other parts of the Europe. Some are working in quality assessment. But having all under one roof doesn't exist as on date. The concept behind putting this organization was that whatsoever the research was done in the past, it didn't pass to the industry in a proper span of time. Whatsoever was done, there was felt a need to have a bridge between research and to the industry. So there felt a need to have certain organization which can translate the basic research done by CSIR lab, University Research Lab, or other organization in the country. And as a result, a tripartite agreement went up where state government, central government, and the United Nations underwent together. And state government responsibility was giving land and the building. Central government responsibility was meeting the routine administrative aspects and the financial aspects. And the United Nations aspects was putting up the technologies. And as a result, a number of different centers came in different parts of the world in India under the aegis of Ministry of SSI Rural and Agro at a point of time, then SSI are now MSME. And a number of such centers has been opened, looking into the local needs in different parts of India. And this fragrance and flavor is one of them. We started our journey in 1991 in Kannauj. The reason being, Kannauj is the one and the only town. There are only two towns across the world where the entire population is engaged directly or indirectly into the perfumery. One is Grass, another is the Kannauj. In Kannauj, we have more than 30 to 35,000 people working directly into this sector, having more than 350 small and big other manufacturing unit. As a result, this has came up. We work into the agrotechnology area where we provide all sorts of information for cultivating different aromatic crops. The one which has to be taken into that aspects. For example, there are more than 2,000 varieties of the roses, but only 4 are being used by this industry, and that we tell which are the crops, how to use them, how to cultivate. Okay. Then we are into extraction, what kind of technology has to be used. Then we are into the analysis with having the state-of-the-art, the India's oldest NABL accredited laboratory, and finally into creating fragrance and flavor. And then rendering training for 1 week, 2 weeks, even 1 year, and even masters in fragrance and flavor. Our job is to provide all sorts of technological support service for those who are and those who are into the industry. And that we have been doing it. And very proudly I can say, though it's a government of India organization, but for last 14 years we are financially self-sustained. This organization doesn't take a single penny from government of India for salary of the staff and maintaining a campus of nearly 30 acres. We have got 2 branches, one in Kanpur, one in Odisha, and the center is in Kannauj. And we are working very closely with the industry people like Fragrance and Flavor Association of India, with Essential Oil and other organizations to get together to promote this industry. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Shukla. Amazing.
Thank you, Shukla ji. I am Yogesh Dubey, President Rakesh Sandal Industries, Kanpur. Is manufacturing natural essential oil and spices oil and carrier oils, last 58 years old. And also 3-time past President Essential Oil Association of India. And current, I am the President FAFAI, Fragrance and Flavor Association of India. We are based in Kanpur, and my association, approximate fragrance and flavor, more than 1,000 member, is the working in around India and world over. My association is very strong with all teams and do the work with all together, regulatory and manufacturing and other business related work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dubey.
Very good afternoon to all. This is A.B. Pant. I am working as a chief scientist at CSIR, Indian Institute of Toxicology Research, and for more than 35 years I am the student of toxicology, and with a special reference to the regulatory domain. And I have also been associated with the National GLP Compliance Monitoring Authority of India as a lead GLP inspector. And my institute is just completed 60 years today, and our institute is involved for last 50 years for the regulatory submissions to the different regulatory bodies all across the globe, including the Indian agencies as well as the outside in Europe, in US. So that means one way we can say that CSR IITR is a GLP certified facility for the all range of products and all range of biosafety studies and toxicity studies. So that means, what is the meaning of GLP? That means India became the signatory country for OECD MAD agreement, that with mutual acceptance of data in 2011. So that means if data for any molecule for safety is generated in any GLP certified facility in India, will be accepted as such more than 90 countries. So that means this is the beautiful part that we are taking at our institute. And beside that, we are open to support all sort of organizations, CROs, and that companies like yours for any such of maybe consultancy, maybe supportive in conducting toxicity studies, safety studies, and just to make you aware that what kind of regulations are required for you people, and you have not to worry that you have to just, we are there to facilitate you guys in totality, that we can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pant.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ashish Jhunjhunwala. By profession, I am a perfumer and I run a small fragrance company out of Kolkata. I am sitting here in the capacity of the Vice President of Fragrances and Flavors Association of India from Bombay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jhunjhunwala.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chinmay Dwivedi, and I am representing Bureau of Indian Standards, which is the national standards body of India. It is a statutory organization under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. And our role is to make standards, develop standards. Definitely, it's there in the name. Then we also get involved in the activities of certification and laboratory testing, and also to create awareness about the quality and standards among the general public. And I am heading a department called Petroleum, Coal and Related Products Department, which is a department which deals with the formulation of standards on the relevant subjects. And one of the very important subjects in which our department is working for standard formulation is flavors and fragrance. So we have a technical committee of experts through which we are developing standards for this, which become a voluntary tool for the industry to demonstrate compliance to the quality. And it becomes a regulatory tool if it is mandated by the regulator or government of India through various quality control orders or regulations. So that is a very important role. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dwivedi.
Hi, all of you. I am Dr. Rohit Seth. Very privileged to be the part of fragrance fraternity. मेरे बड़ों ने मुझे इस ट्रेड में डाला. ये मेरा अहोभाग्य कि I have been the part of a company which is 77-year-old, and I have been working in this field from last 33 years. I have been the past president for Fragrance and Flavors Association of India, taking care of many things which are happening with our fraternity friends, like regulations, which is the most important topic today, and many other things which come across the export, imports, and the manufacturing and the development of their products. I have been trying to, I cannot say educating, but yes, I intend to educate each and everyone कि डर नहीं है, जब तक सीखेंगे नहीं तब तक जगेंगे नहीं, और जगेंगे नहीं तो फिर जीतेंगे नहीं. तो मेरी सोच ये कहती है कि हमारी इंडस्ट्री से अच्छी इंडस्ट्री मुझे नहीं लगता कोई और है जिसकी कोविड टाइम में भी ग्रोथ रेट नेगेटिव नहीं हुई. और जहाँ तक मैं समझता हूँ उसी टाइम पे एक एक घर में किस एसेंशियल ऑयल की क्या नीड थी, कैसे उसने कई सारी दवाइयों का काम किया, आप सब ने देखा होगा. तो एज अ प्रेसिडेंट सुगंध व्यापार संघ टुडे आई विल बी joining this panel, and I really from my bottom of my heart thank Rajat and his team, राजीव जी, जिन्होंने ये एक कदम बढ़ाया जिसके लिए मुझे लगता है इंडस्ट्री को इनका आभारी होना चाहिए कि एक छत्र के नीचे इस तरह की इम्पॉर्टेंट टीम, मैं अपनी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, पंत साहब की और चिन्मय साहब की बात कर रहा हूँ, शुक्ला सर की बात कर रहा हूँ, ऐसे ऐसे धनुर्धर बिठा दिए हैं योद्धा लोग जो अगर कमान संभाल लेंगे तो इंडिया, जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी सपना देखते हैं कि हम ग्लोब में तीसरी अर्थव्यवस्था होंगे, तो मुझे लगता है फ्रेग्रेंस उसमें से एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हिस्सा बनेगी. फ्रेग्रेंस, फ्लेवर्स, एसेंशियल ऑयल्स, एरोमा केमिकल्स का एक बहुत बड़ा हब इंडिया बन सकती है अगर हम सीख जाएं और उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करें. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, Dr. Seth. I can't be honored enough, and I am thankful to all of you. And I'm thankful to Dr. Shakti from FFDC, FAFAI, IITR, and of course you, and BIS, joining hands and collaborating to come on the stage to pass this message to not just the big organizations, but those 6.3 crore small organizations which are eager to grow and become an export specialist from India to the world. So jumping on it straight, I will go to start with, I'll go straight to Science and Safety Foundations. That is our objective, is to ground the entire discussion in science, not opinion. To it's okay. Hello. Yeah. To begin with, we want to anchor this conversation in science because science is what ultimately underpins fragrance safety. To start my first question, I will ask Mr. Shakti Vinay Shukla, what role do institutions like FFDC play in helping Indian fragrance and flavor industry to align with global regulatory and quality expectations?
Thank you, Rajat. A little I've told earlier, fragrance and flavor development center primarily being aimed for rendering all kind of support services, and definitely standardization, regulatory compliances is a part of it. So here, this is the organization where we provide all sorts of technical information and support. And we have been a part of Bureau of Indian Standard as a member in PCD 18 for last 28 years. And there are a number of standards where we have been working. For example, the way the GLC runs as on date has been made by us quite long back. The basic standard for sandalwood oil on which the GLC, the parameters are being run is made by us. Then again for recently we have done it for agarbatti and its test parameters. Again we have done for agarwood oil. Quite long back done we have done for demethylated oil. And apart from that, we have been working very closely in association with the industry association. The purpose is to provide all kind of a support service to the industry. चूँकि रोहित जी ने और योगेश जी ने कहा कि हम में से ज़्यादातर लोगों को हिंदी में बात ज़्यादा आसानी से समझ में आएगी, तो हम हिंदी में नहीं भी बोलेंगे, ना इंग्लिश में बोलेंगे, हम इंग्लिश में बोलेंगे. हम वो सारे काम करते हैं जो इंडस्ट्री की ज़रूरत है, और ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का बेसिक पर्पज़ ये है कि इंडस्ट्री को जो भी मदद चाहिए उसके लिए सारी मदद देना और काम करना है. उसके लिए चाहे ट्रेनिंग देना हो, टेस्टिंग करना हो, कंप्लायंसेस करने हो, जब भी ज़रूरत हो. और ये जर्नी आज से कुछ स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन की शुरू होती करीब जब FFDC खुला. उसके बाद इशू आया पहली बार जब मिस्टर रोहित सेठ फ्रैग्रेंस एंड फ्लेवर एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया के प्रेसिडेंट थे, और वहाँ से बात शुरू हुई कि सर इंडिया में हमारे पास कंप्लायंसेस है ही नहीं, और वहाँ से FFDC का रोल शुरू होता है. उस समय ये इशू आया कि सर कुछ अरोमा केमिकल्स और तुलसी का तेल उपयोग में नहीं लाना चाहिए. सर तुलसी के नाम पर मुझे कहने की आवश्यकता नहीं है कि हमारे लिए वो कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है. नो डाउट उसके ऊपर फ्रैग्रेंस एंड फ्लेवर एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया ने हमें फंड किया, हमने काम किया. जो डॉक्यूमेंट लेकर हम आए फाइनली 50 लोगों पर हमने टेस्ट किया मस्क एमरेट और तुलसी के तेल को, और रिजल्ट ये निकला कि उसमें किसी भी इंसान को, जिसमें मेल थे फीमेल थे, किसी को भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. एंड एज अ रिजल्ट अगेन आई एम थैंकफुल टू BIS जहाँ हमने ये रखा और वो एक्सेप्ट हुआ, और वो रेगुलेशन एज सच कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं किए गए. उसके बाद अभी रिसेंटली ये बात आगे बढ़ी, और उसके बाद जब भी इंडस्ट्री को ज़रूरत होती है हम उस बात को आगे लेके जाते हैं. उसके बाद आगे इशू आई कि रिसेंटली की कुछ 89 मटेरियल्स हैं जो ग्लोबली रिस्ट्रिक्ट किए गए कि सर ये मटेरियल नहीं इस्तेमाल किए जाने चाहिए. ग्लोबल रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हैं. ओबियसली डॉक्टर पंत और बाकी लोग इस चीज़ पर और आगे बताएंगे, लेकिन ये जब ये आया कि ये मटेरियल रोक दिए जाने चाहिए, तो उनमें से बहुत से ऐसे मटेरियल्स थे जो हम कॉमनली इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं और बहुत लंबे समय से कर रहे हैं. बहुत सारी चीज़ें हमारे आयुर्वेदिक फॉर्मुलेशंस में भी जाती हैं. उसको जब हम लेकर आगे बढ़े तो ये आया कि सर हमारे पास तो डाटा ही नहीं है. इंडियन इंडस्ट्री फ्रैग्रेंस एंड फ्लेवर एसोसिएशन के साथ मिलकर पहले ही एक 9000 मटेरियल का डाटाबेस बना चुकी है कि हम ये 9000 मटेरियल इस्तेमाल करते हैं. लेकिन सवाल ये था कि क्या हम पूरे 9000 मटेरियल पर दोबारा व्हील रीइन्वेंट करेंगे, दोबारा रिसर्च करेंगे. जब इस 89 मटेरियल पर इशू आया तो सबसे पहली बात ये उठी कि सर क्या हमें कोई भी आकर कह देगा, और आई डू कोट डॉक्टर पंत, जो ये कहते हैं अक्सर कि क्या हम इंडियंस कभी बाहर के किसी कंट्री के रेगुलेटरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के किसी इशू को एस्पेक्ट को चैलेंज करते हैं, या जो कुछ भी आता है कि सर ये इस जगह पर लागू हुआ है, हमें भी इंडिया में लागू कर लेना चाहिए, सर ये वहां पर लागू है, वो भी हमें यहाँ लागू कर लेना चाहिए। सर यही बात यहाँ पर भी आई कि सर ये नवासी मटेरियल है, पूरी दुनिया मानती है, आप भी मान लो, लेकिन सर उनकी स्किन हमारी स्किन, हमारी इम्यूनिटी उनकी इम्यूनिटी, इन बहुत सारी चीज़ों में अंतर है। और ये बात हम सब जानते हैं कि किस मैट्रिक्स में कौन सी चीज़ है। डॉक्टर पंत इस चीज़ को और एलाबोरेट करेंगे, उसकी डिटेल में हम जाएंगे। तो जब वो टास्क एफएफडीसी के पास आया तो सर पहला सवाल ये था, जहाँ पर हमारा रोल आता है, क्योंकि डॉक्टर पंत जैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हम बेसिक साइंस में ही इस्तेमाल करेंगे, हम उनसे डॉक्यूमेंट की डिटेल में नहीं जाएंगे। एफएफडीसी का रोल आया एंड देन व्हाट वी डिड, हमने कहा कि आप इन नवासी मटेरियल को रोक रहे हो, सर किस आधार पर रोक रहे हो, ये कागज़ तो दे दो हमें। बहुत कई बार फफाई ने भी मांगा, तब भी हम उन एजेंसी से हमें वो डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं मिले, हमने मांगे सर तब भी नहीं मिले, जब बहुत ज़्यादा कहा तो थोड़े से मिले। देन हमने डेडिकेटेडली फफाई के सपोर्ट से, फंडिंग सपोर्ट से, उन नवासी मटेरियल पर पिछले 30-40 साल में जो भी रिसर्च हुई वो सारी ढूंढ डाली कि भाई आपने रोका है तो कहीं तो साइंस की होगी। सर वो जब ढूंढा और रिजल्ट निकाला तो बहुत अमेजिंग रिजल्ट आए। उस नवासी मटेरियल में से आउट ऑफ 89 व्हाट वी कुड एबल टू फाइंड देयर आर 64 ओनली, और उस 64 में से भी 35 वर सच मटेरियल विच इंडियन इंडस्ट्री वर नॉट यूजिंग, वो यूज ही नहीं करते थे, तो उनके डिटेल में हम गए नहीं अभी। द रेस्ट वर देयर वेयर वी वेंट इनटू द डिटेल। जब हम डिटेल में गए तो ये पता चला कि 25 ऐसे हैं जिनका डाटा उन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पास जो ग्लोबल लेवल पर कहे जाते हैं, और हमें अक्सर ये कहा जाता है कि सर इनकी बात मांगो क्योंकि ये दुनिया में ऐसा चल रहा है। सर ये पहली बात थी। जब हमने डाटा ढूंढा तो पता चला सर 25 मटेरियल ऐसे हैं जिनके पास सफिशिएंट डाटा नहीं है और लिमिटेड डाटा है। एक कोई रिसर्च 1976 में होती है, एक रिसर्च पेपर पब्लिश होता है और उसके आधार पर एक कोई चीज बैन कर दी जाती है जो आज तक बैन है, दोबारा कहीं कुछ नहीं किया गया। सर क्या 30 साल में टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं बदली, चीजें नहीं बदली? सर 30 साल पहले कैनबिस बैन था, आज तो हाँ हो गया ना। ऐसे बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स थे। डॉक्टर पंत विल टॉक अबाउट मोर इनटू दोज डिटेल जहां एफएफडीसी ने काम किया। एंड अगेन आई थैंक्स टू बीआईएस। जब बीआईएस में हमने एक चीज रखी तो बीआईएस ने उसको एक्सेप्ट किया, एंड नाउ वी डू हैव स्टार्टेड, जो आपने कहा, वी हैव स्टार्टेड कि हम इस रेगुलेटरी कंप्लायंसेस में हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, एंड दैट इज द रोल वेयर एफएफडीसी स्टार्टेड, एंड दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम वेयर इंडिया हैज मेड अ चैलेंज टू एनी इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कि नहीं सर, हम आपकी बात मानेंगे, गलत होगा जरूर मानेंगे, लेकिन आंख बंद करके नहीं मानेंगे। अगेन कोटिंग अवर ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर, सर ये वो वाला भारत नहीं है।
Thank you, Shakti ji. I'll let Dr. Pant say something because we are staying in science for now. So, Dr. Pant, with growing international scrutiny, as Shakti ji just mentioned, there's a continuously growing international scrutiny on fragrance allergens especially. How should Indian regulators and manufacturers interpret and apply toxicological risk assessments, which generally allergens comes with?
Okay. Thank you. So I will come to your question a little bit later, because before that I'll just try to just convince the population, because that most of the time we are not aware of our rights. So that means this is the time just to tell you, because that there are only three terminologies. One is the consumer, one is the regulator, and one is the industry people like you. And all wants the safe product to be launched in the market, because everybody wants the safety. The concern is that there are two things. One is the guidelines, one is the regulation, one is the legislation. Three terminologies. Guidelines, any organization, NGO or anything can make a guidelines which can be customized, which can be modified as per the justification. While regulations are made by the regulatory bodies, usually the government agencies, and then you have to follow in toto to them because they are mandatory in nature. And whenever you are going to submit your data or any anything, then they will ask that these are the checklists and you have to submit the document accordingly. If you are not submitting the document accordingly, they will say go back and generate the data and come back. So what Dr. Shakti Shukla is not naming them, that's why I will take the name as well. US FDA is the regulators. CDSCO is the regulator. BIS is the regulators. European Union is regulator. But OECD is a NGO. They are not regulators. IFRA is not a regulators. Try to understand. IFRA is a simply NGO made by 5 people in 1973 and grown up like anything, and they are trying to push you that to follow. But in what capacity? Question is, because they are simply NGO, you have to submit the data in your agencies. Like the CDSCO is responsible against the Cosmetic Law 2020. Who made this law or regulation? CDSCO. And who is responsible for making standards in the country? BIS. So if tomorrow my organization will say that I will make a regulation, nobody will accept or nobody should accept, because IITR or my organization is not meant for making regulations. We are not entitled. So that means one thing is that you should follow or not, number one. The second thing is that we are talking about the safety concern. If I'll say, should we check safety of the rice or wheat? Why not? Because we are taking X amount of this. Somebody is taking 2 chapati, somebody is taking 8 chapati. So excess amount of volume we are eating for last many years, but nothing is happening to our body. Because if you look at it, even FSSAI, the regulatory body for the food consumption in country, they simply say, if a indigenous crop is there, that if we have 15 years of records, nothing is required. If we are getting any crop from outside, for 10 years data is good enough that there is no need to create because the people are using it. So my concern is one molecule you are using for last 30 years. There is no outbreak of diseases. There is no any hue and cry in the market. Why all of a sudden one fine morning, one non-regulatory body is just posing this, that this molecule should not use? Because of the vested interest of the business. So that means simply one should ask the question, okay, fine, we are ready to withdraw this molecule, just bring the data. Because if suppose that we are developing a drug and we are going to submit this data to the CDSCO, there is a dossier, and that dossier is needed, all the documentary evidences. So if they have enough amount of evidences to prove that yes, this molecule is causing lot of cancers, lot of mutations and lot of disabilities, then definitely we are going to accept it. But merely saying or merely raising voice that this molecule is harmful, don't use it, where is the data? And the data is there in the population because you are using it for 30 years now and nothing has happened. So that means it itself is speaking that this molecule is safe enough. So the question is how and who. Who will do it and how will do it? Just one size fit for all will not work, because in India, various companies are in a nano scale, then micro scale and mini scale and a small scale, so their turnovers are different entirely. So we can't put all the logistics to everyone. So that means we have to come up, because there are regulations and guidelines which we should follow. If you look at, even in BIS, we have a document which says that these molecules are already approved for the purpose, as I always used to say, that nothing is a drug, nothing is a poison. Only matters the dose, that at what concentration we are using. If the literature says that this molecule is safe up to this concentration and you are using below that concentration, that means you can use and you can give the data that yes, if you look at the literature, up to this concentration, this molecule is safe. Even if you look at the Butex, Butex is formed by the botulinum toxin, and the botulinum toxin is the toxiest chemical of the world. 600 gram is good enough to kill entire world. Even then, for the millions of dilutions, we are using it for making butex. In the same way, yesterday we are discussing that the nicotine is there in the tobacco at certain percentage. We are chewing it for last thousands of years. Nothing has happened. But if purified nicotine, 50 mg, I'm repeating again, 50 mg pure nicotine, if you put your tongue, then you will die within 60 seconds. So such a toxic chemical. But if in what matrix it is, and what is the percentage there, and what is the biological availability, and the best part, our industrial people are doing that most of the time they are using the natural ones. So in the natural fragrances, the lot of other matrices are there, which plays a significant anti-inflammatory activities. So that means it will nullify the responses. As far as he asked about the 81 allergens, what that they have put it. So simply that we have now systems in place in our country itself where we can check these allergens in the different skin levels. In India, our skin is 4 to 5. 4 to 5 category, while in the Europe, the skin is 1 to 3, which is more sensitive for these allergens. So if that molecule is allergenic in their population, it is not possible always that it will be allergenic to our population, because our skin is a different type, 4 to 5. And in African population, skin type is a 6. They are more resistant to even us. So that means now the systems are available where we can screen those molecules for all the skin types, and then we can suggest, yes, out of these 81 molecules which are already prohibited or shown as a allergen, only these 5 molecules are showing allergenicity in our population, while the rest of the molecules are not. So we can't follow them blindly, because in our country as well, the only problem with our industry is that we don't have the traceability of the data. Important is, if you look at that all regulations, what is coming up, maybe that IFRA Amendment 51 or 52, or the EU Amendment 2026, or US Modernization Rule 2023, all saying one thing very clearly: just keep the documents traceability from where you are getting the raw material, and how you are making, what the process is, and whether they are, whatever the data available for those molecules in the literature, just keep the data with you. And if anybody is posing anything to you, simply just show them, no, we are using this molecule at 0.001%, and up to 0.01 it is safe. This is the literature. What is the harm in it? So at least for defending that material, that you have to have the documentation. So important is the documentation and the trail of everything. So that means the chain of custody should be maintained accordingly, then you can defend your data. Because nobody can pose anything on you without any evidences. What if you look at? If you just look at the documents which have come up, the modernization plan by US and the European Union document in 2026, if you look at, they are clearly saying that we are posing these riders based on some of the molecule for the data, for some of the literature, and sometimes the documents are very feeble just for the precautionary. What the precautionary means? Nothing. So that means if a paper published in 1976, and after that nothing is there, so based on that data, can we just kick out any molecule? No. And the important thing is that if you have the population data for 30 years, 20 years, that data itself is enough. That is called as reverse pharmacology. So that means that data is already there in the market, because this perfume is being used by the people of India for last 30 years and no adverse effects have been reported so far. That is the pharmacovigilance in case of medicine. That the data you are also having. So that means you can defend always your case on those basis, and don't worry and don't afraid about any of the NGO. I am repeating again, NGO, because NGOs are not supposed to make any regulations. As Dr. Chinmay is sitting here, he is from BIS. BIS is responsible for making standards in the country, not anybody else.
That is true.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pant. I think it's very insightful because BIS make the standards. So I think the next question is to BIS. As you have heard, Dr. Pant, and you do with a lot of standards, how would you characterize India's fragrance regulatory framework today? Is it emerging? Is it consolidating? Or is it already transitioning towards the global alignment?
Thank you, Mr. Rajat. Very good question. And after the passionate delivery of Dr. Shukla and Dr. Pant, maybe you will find me less excited. And that precisely is not because of my nature. It is because of the nature of my work. See, we make standards. The Bureau of Indians makes standards. See, I'm not an expert in cosmeticology. I'm not an expert in toxicology. I'm not an expert in, say, even in chemistry. But I'm expert in making standards. Now, in our process of standard formulation, daily we come across people who are passionate, who are protective towards their work. See, so much research has gone into what he has said right now in 10 minutes. And believe me, it's a ये निचोड़ है 30-40 साल की रिसर्च का जो एनालिसिस है उसका, तो वो पैशन दिखाई देगा. इंडस्ट्री का अपना प्रैक्टिसेस हैं जो कि चली आ रही हैं और सक्सेसफुल हैं, एक्सेप्टेबल हैं, उनके लिए उसका पैशन है. दे डिफेंड इट लाइक एनीथिंग, है ना. देन दे आर कंज्यूमर्स हु हैव देयर ओन एक्सपेक्टेशंस. तो जब बीआईएस क्या करता है, वो बैलेंस लेके आता है इन तीनों के बीच में, है ना. तो मे बी मेरी डिलीवरी उतनी फायरी ना हो, पर मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मेरी एक्सपर्टीज जो स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मुलेशन में उसको आपसे शेयर कर सकूं. और क्वेश्चन पे भी व्हेन कम टू द क्वेश्चन, सी स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन हैड इमर्ज्ड क्वाइट लॉन्ग बैक. सी एज डॉक्टर शुक्ला टोल्ड, एंड all the experts who are sitting on this chair are involved in standardization in cosmetic flavors and fragrances products before even I joined BIS. See, so experts are here. So emerging, I will not say it is emerging, but I will say that it is evolving. See, and evolution is the law of nature. The consumer expectations are evolving. Consumers जो किसी समय चीज़ को accept करते थे, अब वो safety के बारे में conscious हैं, वो claims के बारे में conscious हैं. आज मैं यहाँ पे देख रहा था organic, herbal, natural, vegan, not animal tested. Consumers ये चीज़ label पे देख रहे हैं, है ना.
Now even Shark Tank experts are saying the same thing. I heard recent episodes, everybody is talking of claims.
Our industry is vibrant, it's ever growing. It is also evolving with the expanding market. The research is evolving, a lot of science is going on, a lot of research is going on. Biodegradable materials, toxicological testings, everything is going on. And with all these evolutions, of course, the regulations also need to evolve. And from my experience in Bureau of Indian Standards and standard formulation, I have a vision of standards and regulations which are science-based, which protect consumers, but are not stifling the industry. So what becomes important is safety, meeting the expectations of the consumer, meeting the science-driven standards, robust standards which are based on data which can be defended across the world. And third is which ensure the industry competitiveness. And very good examples have been given by the speakers who have spoken before me, and which was the essence of the things. And the work that has been done by the panel of experts sitting here in finalizing and recommending a list of prohibited ingredients in fragrances. It's an example I can give of the basically the future of standardization, or the way the regulation standards are going towards. See, because standards have to be data-based. Data needs to be generated. We don't have data. What to do? Follow whatever has been made in the foreign countries, because they have some data of it. But what I've seen in last 5 years is that the standardization, the regulations are progressing from accepting what is there already existing to evaluating what is there.
Yes.
See, I would not use the word challenge. Again, because of the balance I have to bring in my work.
Yes.
So I will use the word evaluation. See, the experts, they work for more than 5 years. They have prepared a report of more than 500 pages,
Yes.
which contains the data, the papers, the information that they have analyzed, while coming to a conclusion that out of these 89 lists which are under evaluation, 64 right now we feel can be prohibited.
Yes.
Okay? And then the science is never reactive, never rejects. See, 25, it's clear that there is no need to regulate right now, no need to prohibit right now. But my experts have said that we will keep on evaluating. We will get more data, more research may come, because there are there are certain papers of predictive nature. Like sir said, no, based on one paper, something has been prohibited. So, okay, we will not believe it right now. Now the question comes that we are now deviating from the global trend.
Yes.
Then what about the industry competitiveness you were talking about?
Yes. That industry will. Industry thing will come. Now.
Industry thing will come. See, global trends are there, global regulations are there. And standards and regulations have a duty to be coherent with the global standards, global requirements, so that the industry remains competitive, and also to ensure that the products that are being sold in the country to our own consumers are not worse than what is being sold into the foreign countries. तो हम कोई कम नहीं है ना, हम भी तो इंसान हैं, हमें भी अच्छा चाहिए, एलर्जिक ना हो, अच्छी क्वालिटी का हो, सेफ हो. लेकिन see, standards have to be science-based,
yes,
evidence-based. This is very clear. So standards जब भी हम बनाते हैं तो हम बहुत ध्यान रखते हैं कि हम global trends का global जो requirements हैं उसके साथ में उसे align करने की कोशिश करें, global practices के साथ में align करें. लेकिन national interest comes first. So see, my committee consists. I will take only 30 seconds to maybe cover. See, my technical experts who are making these standards consists of the experts from IITR, research institutes like FFDC, CMAP, Center for Aromatic Plants, and so on. I have industry, best of the industry, experts, industry associations. If they collectively representing the industry and science in India feel that some molecules are not, it is not in interest of the country and the industry in the country to ban them, and there is no scientific data, sufficient data to prohibit them and to say they are unsafe, then I have no reason to go ahead and include them in the standard just because they are existing in the global standards. And so BIS looks forward to standards on all levels, international levels, as well as association level standards, the consortia level standards, everything. Take the best from everything. So okay, that's the motto. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dwivedi. So building on this scientific foundation, let's turn that how the industry actually interprets and is preparing for this evolving expectations. So my question is to Dr. Rohit Seth. How are Indian fragrance traders and manufacturers responding to growing international compliance pressures?
नई क्लास जाते हैं तो सब्जेक्ट भी नया हो जाता है ना. तो किसी नई कंट्री में अगर कोई एक्सपोर्ट करेगा तो उसके लिए सबसे ज़रूरी है वहाँ क्या कंप्लायंसेस मैंडेटरी हैं और क्या ज़रूरतें वो कंट्री मांगता है इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर द पर्सन टू लर्न. तो सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट जो नैनो हो चाहे माइक्रो हो चाहे वो लार्ज हो, हर एक का अपना एक तरीका है काम करने का. कोई आप जैसे की मदद लेगा, कोई किसी इंस्टीट्यूट में पहचान होगी वहाँ मदद लेगा, या किसी की फीओ या और जो इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं उनके पास जाके पता करेगा, या कंट्री में क्या क्या अवेलेबिलिटीज़ है वहाँ पता करेगा. तो हु सो एवर वॉन्ट्स टू एक्सपोर्ट इज़ मैंडेटरीली liable to abide by those regulations which are followed by the countries he is exporting to. ये नहीं पॉसिबल ना कि मेरे भारत में ये चलता है तो ये रशिया में भी चलेगा. अगर रशिया आपसे कोई चीज़ प्लस या माइनस मांग रही है तो आपको वो उसको करके देना है, तभी तो वहाँ पे एक्सेप्टेंस होगी. तो इसको जानना, इसको पढ़ना, ये मैंडेटरीली आज की तारीख में ज़रूरी होता जा रहा है। इसीलिए मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ टू एजुकेट आवर इंडस्ट्री, नॉट ओनली कि तुम क्या बना रहे हो, तुम कैसे बना रहे हो, और ये कह देना कि मैं ग्लोबल के लिए बनाता हूँ, ये नहीं होता है। आज तो आप देखो ना, साउथ ईस्ट एशिया का अलग डिमांड है, जीसीसी का अलग डिमांड है, यूएसए का अलग डिमांड है, जो यूरोप में काम करते हैं उनका अलग है, जो जापान में करते हैं उनकी अलग डिमांड होंगी। तो व्हेन यू आर मेकिंग अ प्रोडक्ट, इट इज़ अ बेसिकली अ स्टैंडर्ड प्रोडक्ट विच यू आर ट्राइंग टू मेक विद द बेस्ट स्टैंडर्ड्स यू नो, बट when you are going to export it, you have to have the knowledge about those laws, those regulations which are mandated by those countries where you are exporting. तो एक सीधा सा धंधे का उसूल है। तो यही मैंने शुरू में भी कहा, अभी भी कह रहा हूँ, जब तक आप सीखोगे नहीं तब तक आप जीतोगे नहीं। तो ये एक एजुकेशन, और मैं तो अभी कोशिश की है FAFAI के द्वारा, FFDC के द्वारा और BIS से भी मेरी ये कई बार बात होती है कि जब तक हम अपने मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को, ट्रेडर्स को ट्रेन नहीं करेंगे, समझाएंगे नहीं, सिर्फ इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए एक चीज़ इम्पोज कर देंगे, तो वो तो एक जस्टिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ ना किसी भी चीज़ के साथ। आप उसको 2 साल 3 साल पहले सिखाओ और उसके बाद उसको एक कानून का प्रारूप दो, so that everyone should follow accordingly. And this is my humble submission to all the people sitting over here.
Thank you, Dr. Seth. So following on what Dr. Seth said, I'll come to Mr. Dubey. How do priorities differ when supporting a domestic growth versus international expansion and exports?
सर, जैसे रोहित सेठ ने बोला भी कि हम क्लास में जाते हैं तो मुझे कुछ नया सीखना होता है और हर क्लास में सीखना होता है, वैसे ही इंडस्ट्री को जो हम डोमेस्टिक मार्केट में जिस तरह से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं, एक ढर्रा बना हुआ है, एक सिस्टम बना हुआ, उसी पे काम करते चले जा रहे हैं। फिर थोड़ा ग्रो होने के बाद भी जब एक्सपोर्ट की बात करते हैं तो एक्सपोर्ट में हर कंट्री का, हर जगह का, और अब इवन हर बायर का अपना अलग रेगुलेटरी है, अलग उनका स्टैंडर्ड्स है। तो उसके स्टैंडर्ड्स के लिए जब तक कंट्री वाइज मोस्टली जिस कंट्री में जो हो रहा है उसके बारे में एजुकेट इंडस्ट्री को नहीं होगा, चाहे वो छोटी इंडस्ट्रीज़ हो, बड़ी इंडस्ट्रीज़ हो, क्योंकि भाई छोटी इंडस्ट्रीज से लेकर के और लार्ज स्केल इंडस्ट्री तक के लिए सब लोगों के अंदर एक ही विज़न है, एक्सपोर्ट। उनको ऐसा लगता है कि एक्सपोर्ट जाने से हमारी इज़्ज़त बढ़ जाएगी, हमारा काम बढ़ जाएगा और हमको ज़्यादा पैसे मिलेंगे। लेकिन इसके अंदर एक लूपहोल है। अभी आप खाली एक सोचते हैं माल बनाया और सैंपल पास हो गया और मैंने मटेरियल भेज दिया और पैसे आ गए। साहब, ऐसा नहीं है। अब आज के सिनारियो में अगर आपका प्रोडक्ट एप्लीकेशन उसको फूड में जा रहा है तो हर कंट्री का अपना फूड लाइसेंस या फूड यहाँ का सर्टिफिकेट जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया देती है, FSI डिपार्टमेंट का, उसको देना होगा। तो प्रोडक्ट वाइज अलग अलग है कि जो हमारे खाने के लिए प्रोडक्ट्स है, स्पाइसेस आयल हैं जैसे, उनके लिए आपको देना होगा। हर कुछ कंट्री मांगते हैं, कुछ कंट्री नहीं मांगते हैं। प्लस उनके स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं कि ये स्टैंडर्ड्स हमारे जाएंगे। अभी आप ये भी माल भेज देते हैं और डेंजर में कौन सा आता है, किसका फ्लैश पॉइंट क्या है, वो जाके कस्टम में वहाँ फंस जाता है। कस्टम में फंसने के बाद में अब वो उसके ऊपर 100% पेनल्टी है। जितना मटेरियल है उतना ही चला गया वहाँ पेनल्टी में। अब इसके बाद में पता लगा कि होता कि छोड़ दो मटेरियल को, और डिस्ट्रॉय करने के भी पैसे देने पड़ेंगे। तो मीन्स ये है कि हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज़ को, छोटी इंडस्ट्रीज़ को, एक जो यहाँ पे शक्ति विनय शुक्ला जी बैठे हुए हैं FFDC से, हमारे डॉक्टर साहब बैठे पंत साहब और चिन्मय द्विवेदी साहब, ये सब एक टीम है। इन टीम के बिना हम लोग जब तक आने वाले टाइम पे, अभी सर ने बोला कि मुझे एनिमल का भी दिखाई पड़ा, ऑर्गेनिक का दिखाई पड़ा, सब जगह मीन्स ये हो रहा है कि हर आदमी कॉन्शियस है और पैसे देने को भी तैयार है। अभी आप मार्केट में जाइए और कहिए कितना भी पैसा ले लीजिए और मुझे सब नंबर 1 प्योर मटेरियल मिल जाए, मुश्किल है।
That is true.
इसलिए यही मेरा एक सजेशन है हर इंडस्ट्रीज को, इंस्टीट्यूट्स को और पूरी टीम को, पूरी इंडस्ट्री को, कि हम सारी यहाँ की इंडस्ट्रीज़ मिल करके एक रेगुलेशन टाइप का लें कि हम स्टैंडर्ड को कैसे फॉलो करें. जब तक क्वालिटी स्टैंडर्ड के बारे में हम फॉलो नहीं करेंगे, हम मेंटेन नहीं करेंगे, हम दुनिया में स्टैंड नहीं होंगे और अपनी अच्छी चीज़ होने के बावजूद भी हम पैसे उसके नहीं ले पाएंगे. थैंक यू.
Thank you, sir. So, counting on that, my question to Mr. Jhunjhunwala, because you also represent the industry, what are the most common compliance gaps you see now within the Indian fragrance and flavor industry, which is stopping us to go global?
Thank you, Rajat. The question is a bit tricky because I personally don't see any compliance gap happening in India. When it comes to the export market, as Dr. Rohit said and Dubey, they repeatedly said, which I am also repeating, the norms and regulations and standards for every country is different. So what, as Indian manufacturers, as the Indian industry, what we may lack today is the fact that we may probably do not have the knowledge of different regulations in different countries. So the gap solely remains for the export purpose and not for domestic purpose. Because as far as domestic purpose is concerned, each and every company is following all the compliance, because if they don't, they cannot sell their product in the Indian market. So I personally feel there is no gap within the domestic market. But yes, for international market, the gap is the fact that we have to learn, we have to identify the country where we want to sell our products, and then we have to learn the norms and standards of that particular country. So that is what I feel personally.
Thank you, Mr. Jhunjhunwala. So, because we were talking of BIS, so we'll go back a little to where the standards lie. So, if you see the international markets, they recently banned Lilial, which is butyl, ethyl, hexyl, methyl propanol. And now there are restrictions on linalool, there is restriction on hexyl salicylate and glycolide, which is one of the major things which Indian industry is talking about too. So, does BIS ever look at those standards and see, okay, because this is something where standards need to be looked at. Does BIS do that job? And if you do, then how you do that process?
See, a part of this question was answered in my previous thing also. It's a very good question, and I will take this opportunity to explain what standards are, because they see there is sometimes a misconception about the standards also, and also to say how standards operate, how standards evolve or are reviewed. See, standards per se are not regulations. There is a difference between regulations and the standards. See, regulations are made by the government to regulate the industry, to tell them that these are certain requirements which are mandatory for you to be followed. But standards are made by the industry, by the users per se. It could be user of the standard, could be regulator, user would be the industry, user will be the consumer, user will be the R&D institutions who use test methods. So standards are prepared by the industry. So that is the basic difference. So what happens is, if whenever there is a evolving regulatory requirement in the global market, the industry responds by meeting those requirements, because it is very obvious and has been said several times that if I have to sell my product to Russia, I'll have to meet the Russian requirement. If I have to sell to EU, I will have to meet the EU requirement. There is a common platform where these all countries come, that is ISO, which makes international standards. If those standards are made, it is mandatory for every country to follow that. So in terms of quality, I cannot say that EU quality is different from them. But for that, there has to be international standards. They require consensus at the international level. So it's not always very easy. So for one reason or the other, the countries keep on having varying requirements, and industry has to respond. So standards evolve when the industry finds that one of the tool for meeting the international requirement would be Indian standard. What kind of sentence is this? So it happens when industry feels that yes, to reach that competitiveness, I need such requirements to be included in the Indian standards also, so that industries in the India slowly will try to comply to this and reach the level where they are able to meet the global requirements also. That's how standards operate, and standards are a bit different from regulations also, and the more and more the regulators, the government of India is finding the standards as a very good tool for implementing the regulations, becoming part of their regulations, because standards are easy to dynamic, they're easy to review, easy to revise. See, sometimes regulations are there, they are made, and then they are not reviewed for a long time, but for standards it's mandatory for us that for every 5 years we review it once to align it with the emerging sciences, emerging expectations, and taking inputs from the industry. So whenever such issues come to our notice, we immediately take action to it.
Thank you, Dr. Vedi. Just because Dr. Pant wants to say something, sir, you have a minute. That's it.
Basically, the question comes again that what is the rationale of withdrawing those molecules? So glycolides, if you are saying, is there any issues raised in the population that these are the major disadvantage, or it is causing the cancer, or what? Because that European does this, that's why we are following. So that means industry should ask this question, where is the data? Where is the reason to withdraw this molecule? And merely one publication from one person that might have some biased opinion and maybe some vested interest, unless until some approved journals publication and many publications come together and saying that this is the significant. One is the statistical significant, one is the biological significant. These are the biological significant adverse outcomes in the population which are supposed to expose with these chemicals are there, and based on that weight of evidence, we are withdrawing this molecule. That is fine. Otherwise, our industry should raise the voice. Another question is where to raise the voice, because you are not structured. So that means we have to have a structured things. If you look at one time, India was the importer of the grains. Now we are exporter of the grain. Why? Because MS Swaminathan made a structured, Burgess Kurian made a structure of the cooperative society. That's why we are exporting milk. Now since 2012, India is the largest producer of the milk, and we are exporting them. Like you industry people, you don't have any structured thing just to formulate the thing and raise your voice. No, on what basis you will withdraw this molecule? Where is the data? Where is the document? Then only just merely that Europeans and Western population have banned it, so we have also banned it. No. You should ask this question, that's it.
But so this is a round robin. So let's quickly do a round robin there. Everybody, because industry is here, I'm sure regulators are here, and you cannot have a better team than this. So if we look at the future ready compliance, say in next 3 years to 5 years, sorry, what will be one takeaway today which needs to be actioned to make that industry progressive and compete on the global stage? That is one question each of you can answer briefly.
घूम फिर के एक ही जवाब आता है मुझे, वही सिखा के भेजा था, वही कहा था बोलने के लिए. Sir, you need to learn the things which we are talking. You are asking the questions this way or that way. The answer would be without learning, without knowing. How can I do the global competition? मैं अपने आप अपने व्यापार में तो एक दूसरे के साथ कंपटीशन कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन अगर मुझे ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी में स्टैंड करना है तो मुझे वो व्यवहार सीखना है ना, जो वहाँ होता है, जिस तरीके से होता है. बट ये चीज़ आज मैं भी सीख के जा रहा हूँ कि कल को आप भी मुझसे सवाल पूछोगे कि ये विड्रॉ कर दो. अब ये ग्लैक्सोलाइट वाला क्वेश्चन जो है, आई थिंक FAFAI शुड टेक एन एक्शन ऑन इट, एंड विद द हेल्प ऑफ द इंस्टीट्यूट्स लाइक द IITR, we should have our own report, so that if it is really harmful, definitely it should be banned. It should not be restricted, it should be prohibited. But if it is just simple a journal or a simple article and is going to be banned, and since used from last I think 40-60 years it has been used in the industry, how can you just withdraw a chemical on which many of formulations have been banking on upon. So important is how to take the corrective measures and how to learn to implement these standards in your product so that you can fight globally. This is the way which we can win, otherwise ये सवाल पूछते रहोगे आप.
नहीं रोहित, जो आप बोल रहे हैं एक्चुअली फैक्ट यही है कि हमको लर्न करना चाहिए, कुछ भी किसी कह देने से कुछ नहीं. अभी हमारे यहाँ देखते हैं आप कि किस तरह से हम हर तरह के एटमॉस्फेयर में, हर तरह के मौसम में अपने को ढाल लेते हैं और इजी चल रहे हैं. लेकिन अगर वास्तव में कोई चीज़ डेंजर है, उसी लिटरेचर प्रैक्टिकल में जैसे अभी FFDC ने और लोगों ने मिलके रेगुलेटरी बॉडी ने काम किया है, तो डेफिनेटली अगर कल आपके ऊपर इम्प्लीमेंट होगा, आप यूज़ करेंगे, कल मैं भी यूज़ करूँगा, मेरे घर वाले, मेरे रिलेटिव भी यूज़ करेंगे, तो बैन खराब है, डेंजर है तो डेंजर है, इसमें कोई नो डाउट, इसमें कोई भी हमारा डिफरेंस नहीं है किसी भी वर्ल्ड ओवर में. बट पहले हमको खुद अपने इंडिया की रेगुलेटरी बॉडीज़ और यहाँ पे फैसिलिटीज़ इतनी हैं कि हम उसको प्रूव कर लेंगे, तभी आगे बढ़ेंगे.
इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड्स की मैं बात करूं तो आने वाले जो 3, 4 या 5 साल की आपने बात की है, तो मैं एक तो अपने लिए मैंने एक गोल रखा है. गोल ये है कि हमारी जो इंडस्ट्री है, हमारे साइंटिस्ट हैं, रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट्स हैं और रेगुलेटर्स हैं, उनके साथ में BIS के कोलैबोरेशन को मैं स्ट्रेंथन करना चाहता हूँ, ताकि हम और जितने नए स्टैंडर्ड्स बनाएं और जो हमारे एग्जिस्टिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं उनको रिव्यू और रिवाइज कर सकें, ज़्यादा साइंस बेस्ड बनाएं, ज़्यादा कंज्यूमर फ्रेंडली, ज़्यादा इंडस्ट्री फ्रेंडली एंड इम्प्लीमेंटेबल उन्हें बना सके. और इस बारे में एक और मेरी एक इच्छा है, यहाँ इंडस्ट्री है तो मैं हिंदी में बोलते हैं, आह्वान करना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि स्टैंडर्ड जब मैंडेटरी करे जाते हैं तो रेगुलेशन बन जाते हैं और रेगुलेशन जो है इंडस्ट्री के लिए भारी पड़ते हैं. लेकिन हमें पता है बड़ी खुशी होती है स्टैंडर्ड बनाने वालों को. क्यों? क्योंकि वो डॉक्यूमेंट को कोई यूज़ कर रहा है, कोई इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहा है, उसमें कोई कमी आएगी, कोई परेशानी आएगी तो स्टैंडर्ड इम्प्रूव होगा. सो वी डिपेंड ऑन फीडबैक, क्रक्स इज़ दैट. तो मेरे आह्वान यह है कि आप हमारे स्टैंडर्ड्स को अगर वॉलंटरीली इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे और उस पर फीडबैक हमें देंगे तो रेगुलेशन की तो ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, है ना. वो जो एक हम अननेसेसरी रेगुलेटरी बर्डन का इंतजार करते हैं कि एक दिन आएगा तो करेंगे, इंडस्ट्री करे. और मैं इसके लिए कॉम्प्लीमेंट करना चाहूँगा, अभी अगरबत्ती मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एसोसिएशन जो है, ऑल इंडिया अगरबत्ती मैन्युफैक्चरर्स एसोसिएशन ने उनके कहने पे, उनकी प्रपोजल पे बड़ा ही अच्छा स्टैंडर्ड अगरबत्ती इंसेंस स्टिक का बनाया. FFDC, ATR सभी लोग उसमें इन्वॉल्व है, बड़े दिल से बनाया. उसके लिए हमारे पास में उनकी तरफ से रिक्वेस्ट वो आ रहा है कि हम वॉलंटरी सर्टिफिकेशन उसमें लेना चाहते हैं. तो मुझे ये भी लगता है कि वॉलंटरी कंप्लायंस शुड बी द फ्यूचर ऑफ रेगुलेटरी कंप्लायंस इन द कंट्री. क्यों गवर्नमेंट को ज़्यादा डिस्टर्ब करें.
सर, जैसा आपने कहा वो बिल्कुल सही बात है. जब भी हम ऐसे किसी काम की बात करते हैं और टेक अवे की फाइनली इस 1 घंटे के डिस्कशन के बाद हम कहाँ जाते हैं, सो पहले हम इंडिया के एक पर्सपेक्टिव की बात करें तो मोटी सी बात यह है कि आज की तारीख में हम MSMEs की बात करते हैं और लगभग 6.3 करोड़ MSMEs हैं इंडिया में. और एज पर दी प्रेजेंट डेफिनेशन जो 2025 के बाद नई डेफिनेशन आई है, अगर आपका टर्नओवर 10 करोड़ है तो आप माइक्रो हैं, 100 है तो स्मॉल है और 500 है तो मीडियम है. सर, डाटा ये कहता है, आपको जान के आश्चर्य होगा, 99% माइक्रो है, 0.5% स्मॉल है और बचा हुआ मीडियम है. और 10 करोड़ के टर्नओवर की बात करें तो अब अगर आप देखेंगे तो अगर इसको आप एक और ब्रैकेट में ले आए जहां हम बात कर रहे हैं जो भी एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता, माइक्रो के नीचे नैनो, और अगर आप 5 करोड़ के नीचे ले आए तो एक बड़ा अमाउंट वहीं पर जाकर सिमट जाएगा. सर, क्या ये लोग जिनके पास 2, 4, 5 करोड़ का टर्नओवर है, कमाते कितना होगा आप अंदाजा लगा लीजिए. अगर टर्नओवर है तो क्या इस हालत में है कि हम आज बहुत लंबे लंबे कंप्लायंस, बहुत लंबे लंबे रेगुलेशन डाल दें. सर, परिणाम सिर्फ ये होना है कि 5-6 इंडस्ट्री आ जाएंगी, वही पूरे देश को खुशबू लगवाएंगी और बाकी सब खत्म हो जाएगा. टारगेट शायद ये नहीं है ये भी हमें देखने का विषय होना चाहिए कि अगर कंप्लायंस वाकई जो दुबई जी ने कहा, जो रोहित जी ने कहा, सर बिल्कुल सही है। सर हम में से कोई ऐसा नहीं है जो अपने बच्चे को कोई ऐसी खुशबू लगाना चाहेगा जिसको 1 साल बाद उसको एलर्जी हो जाए, कोई नहीं चाहेगा। लेकिन सर अगर ये वाकई है तो हम सब चाहते हैं, लेकिन कभी एक डॉक्यूमेंट 30 साल बाद आता है कि सर ये नुकसान हो गया, फिर 30 साल बाद आता है दूसरा नुकसान हो गया। सर हमें कुछ ऐसा मेथड बना लेना चाहिए कि सर हम इतना रोबस्ट ढंग से काम कर लें कि ये 25-30 साल बाद जब हम पलट रहे हैं, ये पलटने की नौबत नहीं है। और सर फ्यूचर टेक अवे की बात करें तो जैसा मेरा डॉक्टर पंत से कल सुबह फ्लाइट में आते वक्त डिस्कशन हुआ, हम उसी जिस रास्ते पर इवॉल्व हो रहे हैं, जैसा कि अभी चिन्मय द्विवेदी जी ने कहा, हमने रिस्ट्रिक्टेड मटेरियल की 89 लिस्ट पर होमवर्क किया और सारा डॉक्यूमेंट निकाला। अभी बचा डॉक्यूमेंट बाकी है जहां पर हम डोज लेवल की बात करते हैं, लिव ऑन रिंस ऑफ की बात करते हैं। हमें उन सारे मटेरियल पर अगर डॉक्यूमेंट निकाल कर वापस देखना होगा कि अगर हमें कोई कह रहा है कि सर लिव ऑन में इतना है और रिंस ऑफ में इतना है, तो कैसे कह रहा है और क्यों कह रहा है।
यस,
अगर हम उस डॉक्यूमेंट को निकाल के देखेंगे, सर सच्चाई यही है, आज तक पूरी दुनिया में अगर आप पता करें, सर किसी इंस्टीट्यूशन ने आपके कहे चीज को पलट कर, और ब्यूटी ये थी कि सर इंडिया में हमारे पास इंस्टीट्यूशंस थे। पहली बात, फ्रेग्रेंस फ्लेवर फॉर्मुलेशन का इंस्टीट्यूशन पूरी दुनिया में कहीं नहीं था, तो जहां पर हम इस बात को देख पाए कि तुम फॉर्मुलेशन के नाम पर कह क्या रहे हो। और दूसरा कॉम्बिनेशन जो हमें डेडली कॉम्बिनेशन मिला वो डॉक्टर पंत साहब जैसे लोगों का, कि इस कॉम्बिनेशन के बाद हम उसको टॉक्सिकोलॉजिकली इवेल्युएट कर पाए। उसके बाद हमारे पास और इंस्टीट्यूशंस थे, सीमैप जैसे लोग थे, कैप जैसे लोग थे, और ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस थे जहां हम इस चीज को इवेल्युएट कर पा रहे हैं। तब हम इस ग्लोबल लेवल पर कहीं चैलेंज पर जा रहे हैं, तो हमारा कहना है कि हमें वी नीड टू इवेल्युएट इट, make that document, and I will come to BIS.
I think we have gone past a lot of time.
Okay, please.
Sorry, we have to cut it short.
Yeah.
And for questions, you can, all the speakers are here up and say offline, you can ask the questions. But thank you to all this. Yeah.
Yes, we could not take the questions here,
Yeah.
but speakers are here. We'll go because the next session has to come through.
Yeah.
So, but before we just close, I'd like to thank you all the panelists. I think it is insightful. This discussion is unending for now, but of course it is another day when we take at another time. Thank you.